Well, I picked up this McCulloch Mac Cat little chainsaw. It's got an 18-inch bar. It's only a 38cc engine, 2.3 cubic inches. Kind of like the older McCullochs. This is kind of like the later older McCullochs made in Mexico. First thing I did when I opened up the gas cap, you can see the dirt right here. This is like I was feeling around inside here. I says, ooh, this is gummy as shit. See, oh, well, the line is broken. I'm going to flush all that out of there. And it needs a new line, that's for sure. And you can see here's the filter. What I'm going to do, you know, I know these things are dirt cheap. I might have a line, extra line coming with my McCulloch Mac 610 kit. What I'm going to do with this carburetor, this is, and I'm also going to do this with the filter. Awesome cleaner. There was just a little bit in here, probably like a 5% mixture, and maybe not even that much, just a few ounces. And I'm going to put this in the UltraSonic cleaner, which I've used for making liposomal vitamin C, but I don't use that for that anymore. Got the heater on it, let it run for 30 minutes. I'm curious how that's going to come out. I think this saw is going to be okay. It said it had good compression. It has good spark. Look at the bar. I mean, the paint's still on it. It looks like some homeowner had this. Looks like this chain has got, looks like the original chain with plenty of life on it. So it's got really low hours. Supposedly it's got good spark, good compression. I could tell it's got good compression. So what I'm going to do is take off the carb, and here's your little choke plate here. See how that goes over the carb? It's typical standard McCulloch. And take it apart, and I'm going to clean the crap out of it in here. See if maybe I can reuse the gaskets in the diaphragm. I will not put the rubber parts in there, or the gaskets, of course, and see if, and I think, you know what I think? I read about using the UltraSonic cleaner with Simply Green, and I'm like, Simply Green is crap, okay? I know that stuff is junk. I mean, it's not bad, but it's junk compared to that stuff. It's awesome, which is only like a couple bucks or something for this gallon, and you don't use that much of it. You don't put 25% mixture. You just need a little bit of detergent. It might take a couple runs, but if you pull that carburetor apart, you pull out the needle valve, the diaphragm, and the little that rubber thing with the reed valves, whatever the hell you call those things, and just let the actual carb in there, all the passageways should get super clean. And then, you know, spray them out some carb cleaner. This will clean it better than carb cleaner. That's the main trick of getting these carbs really clean. And you know, if this thing's that gummy, you know that carb is clogged from all hell inside all those little passageways. I figure a couple 30-minute runs on that damn thing, it's going to be good to go, baby. So let's pull this damn thing apart. Okay, obviously this is the trigger mechanism right here. That hooks into this slot right here on the side. And this, actually it's probably best to install the carburetor in this first. I'm not sure if there's a gasket missing or if this is the gasket. Feels like a little bit of rubber there, so maybe it is. That is the gasket, I guess. You know what I could do though? I could put some Permatex red. It's like a real thin gasket sealant designed for which you can seal up even rubber gaskets and metal gaskets with it. Just put it on here with your finger after you chemically clean this. That should seal. Obviously here's the hose, the fuel line, which is broken on the end, which I kind of figured that would be the case. So I was kind of hoping it wasn't. I was going to try to leave some starting fluid in there, and then, you know, in the bottom of the tank, and just shake it around and let it sit there for a few hours. And as long as but first thing I checked was to see if this filter was screwed up. And you can tell you what, right now, I sprayed this down with starting fluid already, and oh yeah, I can blow through it. It's a lot cleaner already. I doused this down with starting fluid, and it looks like the UltraSonic cleaner with this awesome cleaner is really doing a job. So next thing, so this thing, like it gets, like when you pull that out and you pull the trigger, it gets behind, holds your throttle open. That's your throttle stuff. And I'm going to practically spray some, not WD-40, but it's a type of gun lube that keeps this stuff from rusting. And that'll work too. So we'll start pulling this apart. Another problem I see is this line. It's broken off right here. So definitely got to get some gas lines in this puppy. And putting everything in there so won't lose it. But I'm going to clean the crap out of this thing first, and maybe I can reuse the parts on the carburetor. Okay, so this carb definitely was not a part. So it's gummy, you know, it's gummy gas. We're gonna, that's your idle speed, right? Your idle screw right there. We're gonna stick this in there, and not sure if this is gonna come off in one piece. You can see this. Well, it's not broken. You know what's cool about this ultrasonic cleaner? You got these little screens in there and stuff. You should be able to get them perfectly clean, especially with the Awesome. The Simply Green, I don't think that stuff is that great. I never liked it. Awesome cleans like, I swear to God, you know, if you want to paint a car and you don't have any, pre-cleano or anything like that, or they always say like use Dawn dish detergents, you know, scuff it down, use some pre-cleano. Hey, use some Dawn dish detergent, then use some Awesome, then when you're scuffing it down, and then rinse it off with real clean water, real clean rags. That paint will stick, man. That stuff gets it like chemically clean, big time, man. I think it's better than freaking lacquer thinner, to tell you the truth, man. So that's the side with the little reed valves. You can see, you know, those little flaps. You know, that thing is probably still good, man. And then here's the side with the diaphragm, which goes on only one way because it's got that little tip there. Right? It only goes on there one way. See that little tip? And you got your little button goes on this thing, which probably is frozen up in there. You know what I'll probably do? I'll probably stick this whole damn thing in there like this. Although I wouldn't like leave it in there too long, because I don't know, it might harm the rubber tip on the the needle valve, which is that right there. You see I'm pointing to it? That's a needle valve. There's a spring under this tab. You take that screw out. I don't like messing with that because it's not hard to do, but you got to take your little freaking pliers and stuff, little needle nose or like tweezers to get that thing back in there. I might just electronically clean it. It probably will do it. As long as this doesn't damage the rubber, and I don't even want to mess with this gasket, to tell you the truth. I might just freaking try to dunk it, not too long, and I won't dunk this part. Yeah, that's working. And this valve, this thing, what the hell is it again? This thing. Kind of hard to say, you know, where that's supposed to be. This thing right here, the height. Usually they're about even with this, but I'm going to leave it the hell alone. I think it's just dirt. So we're going to just submerge this bitch for a while. Let it do its thing. See what happens. I'm not going to leave it in there. It's only got 7 more minutes to go. And you can see this? See how freaking, I was only in there about 10 minutes so far? See how pretty that got? You know what I should do though? Is take these two things out and count the turns on them. You see how clean it already got a little bit? See that? That's probably the simplest way. I think if you put maybe a 5% mixture of awesome cleaner in there, not even 10%, like a real small amount, like 1.5 ounces or something in a gallon of water, and let it run, I don't even think it's going to harm the rubber. So that might be the easiest way to do this crap. And Hopefully he's got all the parts with this thing. I think he does. The only thing is, I'm wondering how to fish that one line through there. I'm not sure if there's supposed to be, that's a chain adjuster, of course, right here. I'm not sure if there's supposed to be little bar guides. Maybe there isn't. I know on my McCulloch Mac 610, there's like a couple plates, a plate on each side of this thing. Maybe that's missing, I don't know. It'll still work. So, anyway, we'll see what happens. Now, to tell you the truth, the main reason I kind of bought this, you can see this awesome cleaner. See how it does that? Cleans off quick. This stuff doesn't even come off good with starting fluid. I wiped this off. I like the cat. I like the cat. I like the Mac Cat. And it is a lot lighter than my McCulloch Mac 610. And I know there's a muffler mod you could do with this little 38cc that could give it a lot more power, where it could power this 18-inch bar pretty damn good. I'm not sure if there's any parts missing, but you know, there might be, because you can see this indentation here. Usually isn't there a little guide on these? I mean, maybe not on this little guy. Maybe there isn't a guide on this little guy. Yeah, probably not. You know why? Because if there was a guide, I would have seen a mark right here, right around there. So it probably just bolts on there without one of those plates, like a couple of those plates on the bigger ones. So I'm not going to leave this in there too long. I actually put the diaphragm in here, wherever the hell it is. Just shut off. I bet you, see how clean that came out? Ha! What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these out. Look at even the rust on the end of this stuff came off. Woo-wee. Man, that looks pretty good. That was only 10 minutes. That's why, if you're actually cleaning a car, look at this. That's reusable. And you know, since it's not... Oh man, that is pretty clean. That is pretty clean. I bet you I can get this like brand spanking new, even though these are dirt cheap. This I will not clean anymore. That I won't clean anymore. I'm going to just hit it with a little starting fluid. Starting fluid shouldn't mess that up. Ooh, that looks clean. This cover's probably perfect. There's not much to it. But this, I remember this screw had some rust on it. Rusty's gone. Yeah. So I'm going to count the number of turns, take out the high and low, and you can see it's marked. There's low, there's high. This might not even require a rebuild kit. That's what's funny about it. Because if I take my Q-tip and I go around this gasket right here, or actually on the other side, on the metal side, with that, it's what the hell is that stuff? Here, let me show it to you. Oh, I got it over here someplace. A lot of people don't even, you know, it's not RTV, man. You don't want to use that crap. A lot of people don't even know about this. It's Permatex 99MA item 865 80065 high-tech spray a gasket permanent sealant. You put a little bit on a Q-tip, and this stuff will actually work. You know, you're never supposed to put like RTV with a metal gasket or rubber gasket. This will work with that, and this works really good with gas. Gas will not affect this stuff, and it never gets hard. So you can always pull those gaskets off. So this is always perfect if you're going to reuse a gasket. And actually, if you're reusing a gasket and it's not broken, it'll seal better than a brand new gasket. So I might not even buy a rebuild kit for this. The one thing I'm worried about is fishing this one line through. I don't know where that line goes, but I'll figure it out. The one that, not this one. This one, I could just pull this out, put a wire through there, and I'll see it come out the gas tank, right? Grab it with this one. I don't know where this one goes, man. I only got one line on my other saw, so I don't know where the hell it goes, man. Well, that was simple. That's just a return line that goes right straight into the freaking top of the gas tank. That's all that is, man. Oh, that's easy. So this line, I need to fish out. Well, I'm sure it's busted off somewhere, but we'll get that. This is gonna be like a no-brainer. I should have some line coming by next week, so maybe I don't need to even put a rebuild kit in this damn thing or nothing. What I'm also going to do is spray down, take off the muffler and spray down the piston in there with some Dura lube, and also pull the plug out, clean the plug off with the propane torch and gap it. I don't know what it's gapped at, probably 25 thousandths or something. And this carburetor, okay, it's a Zama C1. Is that what the hell that is? I'm not sure if there's a little, I don't know what that is right there. That's probably for some reed valve or something right there too. So that orifice needs to be cleaned. I don't see any of the numbers on this thing. I'm going to see if that needle valve lifts up too. This guy right in here. Probably stuck. If not, I'll just take it out and we'll clean the crap out of it with electronic cleaner again. Do ultrasonic cleaner in that. Awesome. Not sure if that was stuck before, but I can tell you one thing. That thing moves very freely now. See it? So I'm just going to run this thing through there with these two things out, with the turns counted, and I'll put them back in, and probably for 15 minutes. Then just douse it down with some starting fluid. Call it a day, man. I think it's going to run. It won't be like a brand new kit, but it'll be good enough, man. It'll work fine. I noticed on this carb, the high is different from the low. On the McCulloch Mac 610, they're identical. They're identical needle valves, so that's the high one. The shorter one is the high. 2.5 turns out from bottom, 2 1/4 turns out from low. Usually you could do like is 1.5 to 2 turns, and you'll get it right in the ballpark. So maybe I'm going to put them on 2 turns each when I try to start it later. See what happens when I get the fuel line in later. Yeah, because you know it could have been richened up a little bit as the gas was getting shittier, you know, and getting more clogged up. So maybe it might run better with 1.5 turns or 2 turns than that far out. So I'll start probably with 2 turns, see what happens when I get the fuel lines. Okay, all this stuff is pretty damn clean, and actually I put it like an Allen wrench, keep the butterfly valve open. So if there's any other holes or orifices that get cleaned out, it could do it better that way. Doused the oil outside down with starting fluid, then I blew everything out with air. I didn't like blow into the holes too hard or anything like that. Next is I'm taking this muffler off of here. It comes off. I unbolted it, and we're gonna give it a good cleaning and maybe a little bit of a modification. There's the muffler. There was a couple other Allen bolts way deep down in there. Good thing I had my other junk metric set because I was just missing that Allen wrench, but had one in my other set. So we're going to dunk this in a ultrasonic cleaner and clean the crap out of it. That should help. Next, I'll cover this up with some tape or something, and I'm going to clean this all out, and here are the fins, and take the plug out. Or maybe I'll get this gas tank out of here or something too, and really thoroughly clean it, especially if I can get that thing in the ultrasonic cleaner. That would really clean the gas tank. And here's the carb. I got it in a plastic bag. You can see that little bit of red around here. I put Q-tip with just a little bit of this right around the edge where the gasket is, Like I said, this stuff you can use on rubber gaskets and even metal gaskets. That's the part numbers. 865 Permatex 99 MA high-tack spray of gasket sealant. Actually, you're not going to spray it on here. You're just going to put a little on a Q-tip, just get around the edge where it seals. So those gaskets will work. I think the diaphragms and the reed valves, whatever the hell you call those things, are good enough to still work. So that thing will probably work. As long as I get this fuel line in next week, it should be okay. Now this has a brand spanking new spark plug in it, so that's cool. Obviously somebody's trying to get it to run, but you know, if you just stick your finger in the gas tank and you turn it upside down, you can see there was all this crud in there, plus the hose is broke. I mean, for crying out loud, you could see this was laying in the gas tank because the gas, ate up the hose. So I'm going to put this back on with some anti-seize. I'm going to chemically clean this right here, put some Gorilla tape over it. That's what I keep saying, the monster tape. Gorilla tape over that. Then I'm going to clean the crap out of this and blow it off with air with, with awesome cleaner. Then I'll hit it with starting fluid and blow it off with air, so all these fins will be nice and clean. And if I get this gas tank out of here, I don't really need to. I can rinse it out really, really, really good. And as long as I can get that one line fished through there with a wire, it should be no problem. Actually, all I got to do is get that the gas line, and I might. This has only been sitting in here about 5 minutes. Oh, look at that. Huh. I'm not sure how you modify this stuff. I know this hole here is for screwing in the cover, so you don't open that hole up. I'm not sure if there's some kind of, you can take this apart and there's a baffle in here, but I heard you can get this saw to really put out some decent power. Then you got to richen up the screws on the carb just a hair. But that would be great if this little lightweight saw can put out some power with that 18-inch bar, and it's hardly got much use. And obviously I didn't get the best deal in the world on it because eBay inflates the prices, but I definitely would rather have this than a pulling. Go to the store and pay a couple $100 for one of those stupid things. That is a real piece of junk. This old McCulloch, I think it's made in USA, assembled in Mexico. It's all right. It's not bad. I think it's from the early 90s or something. So get that plug back in here, clean up all those fins, and see if I can. You know what I could do with this? I could put awesome cleaner in there, and my parts cleaning brush, swish it all around, and then blow it out with air. Then follow it up with starting fluid and blow it all out with air, and that'll be fine. And I think this cap's got a vent in it. Put that up there too, man. This thing's actually going to run great, man. I wish I could. I'm going to be uploading this video before I run it. I don't know, maybe if I'll put a dash of gas right down here or something. See if it pops. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I just changed the water again, so you can see the dirt coming out of that thing. There's probably a screen in there, but you know what's going to happen to that screen. See that? See that dirt coming out of there? Oh yeah. I gotta find out how to modify that thing, but it'll run like new anyway if just getting cleaned up like that. Damn, I wish I had a hose. Okay, the muffler is squeaky clean. One thing I modified was that hole in there, and I did this with the muffler off. I actually ran it through the the UltraSonic cleaner again to make sure no particles of shavings got off into get into the cylinder. And you see how dirty that water got. That's the second run through on the exhaust, right? So it is really super clean now. These baffles, I kind of opened them up a little bit, and also this hole here, I went to the next drill bit size up. It was like You know, it was an 1/8 inch hole. I made it 9/64, so nothing radical. So it shouldn't change much. And put the bolts in there with anti-seize. I'm going to put these 2 screws in here with anti-seize. And then, of course, dummy me, I didn't realize that it's going to be easy to thread through the the hose, because the hose is just right here. That right there. That's it. Just goes straight into the gas tank. The other one is the return, and it's like, I don't know if it's a return or it's a vapor thing or something like that. It just goes right up to the top of the crankcase, and that hose is good. It's just a nipple on top of the crankcase, so that hose is good. That plugs into the other side of the carburetor. The only problem I might have is, I'm not sure if they bent this linkage up a little bit or something. I'm not sure. But all I need is a stupid hose to go into there in this filter, and I might try to pop it off and just to see if it runs. This gas tank is 100% squeaky clean. You see that in there? It's super clean. Shouldn't be no problems with that bad boy. So the only thing now, so I've got to check the oiler too. Let me put this muffler back on this side cover. Well, I'm going to wait to put on the chain. The chain's a little stiff. I think everything was washed down on the saw. I had actually put some PB Blaster on a sprocket to free it up. And I'm just going to let the chain soak in motor oil overnight. Then I'll wash it off with diesel fuel, and it should be fine. So, Mr. Panda Cat, you're down here someplace. Hey, you. There he is. He's down there. See him? No, he ain't. He was down there. He was down there. I'll just leave this up here. He was eating. So, the only problem I might have, it's a minor problem, is where the carburetor hooks on. It might be a little bent or something. You notice it didn't quite line up right. This hook might be just a little bent, but that's not a big deal. It's real easy. All I got to do is thread the thing right here. It goes right to the gas tank. That's basically all that was wrong with it. The fuel line, the filter was laying in the gas tank, so obviously it couldn't get any fuel. And he said it had spark and it had compression. It does seem to have good compression. So, here's Panda Cat. There you go. What are you doing here? Here, boo-boo. Hey. Psst, 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 psst. Here you go. Anyway, so, and look at that dirty water that came out. That's the second time. So the exhaust system is kind of a roundabout. You can eat your food, buddy. Huh? He's a little scared of me still. Anyway, the exhaust system should be slightly louder, but I didn't modify it too much. I mean, like I said, I went up a 64th of an inch. I opened up those baffles a hair. You know, so, but that's all, as long as it gives it enough power to do the job, fine. And I'll get this chain all freed up. Man, if I had a hose, I'd be fine. So, anyway, the important lesson to learn with this is the cheapest way to, there's Panda Cat, to get everything super clean without even changing any parts is use the UltraSonic cleaner with the heater. And you don't need a strong solution of that awesome cleaner. That's just junk right here. Awesome. You can put even 5% in there. That would do it. You can throw the rubber parts in here. Just don't put too strong of a cleaner. Then, you know, just maybe do them 20 minutes or something, right? Don't do them real long time. Just one shot. And leave the butterfly valve open. Open up the exhaust system. I sprayed a little door lube inside the piston and stuff. Make sure everything's lubed. The oiler system, what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put Marvel Mystery Oil in it. And if the check ball, I don't think this has a manual oiler on it. It's an automatic oiler, I guess, right? I don't know what the hell this is for. I gotta there's some manual on this. I know it's like you pull this up, and I don't know what the hell there's a way to set this thing. Oh yeah, this sets the throttle. You pull that up and you pull this out at the same time, and you pull this out and it locks up against the throttle right there. So, and then I don't know. Oh yeah, there's a choke. The choke is up that flap on the top of the carburetor, which is, oh, it goes to this thing right here. So that's that. I don't know. I think it's all freaking good to go, man. This thing works good, and I get a little extra power over the stock motor by doing that exhaust modification, which I didn't do nothing crazy. And the chain looks fairly new. The bar looks fairly new. I mean, yeah, I had to get the rust off it a little bit, but this thing is definitely going to be damn well worth it, because it's light, man. It's a lightweight saw. I mean, it's a little heavy for 38cc, but I heard this damn thing does cut like a son of a bitch with that muffler modification. So I'm like, and this is what I bought it for. Meow meow, right? It's got a cat on it, like this guy, right? Is that what you are? You're a cat. Anyway, over and out.